Welcome to Politics for Patriots. Here's your host, the eviscerator of progressive nonsense, the executioner of imbecility, and the grim reaper of BS, Eddie Zipper.
If Democrats take back the House of Representatives, and that is a big if, and we're going to talk about that on the show today. It's a big if. But if they do, it will destroy the Democratic Party. So many, you don't even hear about the local House races, but so many of these Democratic House candidates are running against the National Democratic Party. Because on a national level, the Democratic Party is toxic and way out of touch with average Americans. Take Nancy Pelosi, for instance. If House Majority Leader Nancy Pelosi strung together two coherent sentences, my jaw would hit the floor. She is absolutely the worst Washington, D.C. has to offer. Her contempt for the average American is astounding. I get to take home an extra $200 a month of the money that I went to work and I earned. I get to take $200 extra a month of that money home thanks to the GOP tax cuts. To Nancy Pelosi, me taking home an extra $200 of the money that I went to work and earned, to her that is Armageddon.
This is Armageddon.
I'm not rich. Why is it the end of the world? Why is it the final days? If I get to take home a little bit more of the money that I went to work and earned. She's a millionaire, by the way. I'm not a millionaire. The reason she thinks this is because she is out of touch with the average American. Wildly out of touch with most of the country. She's so out of touch that every time she speaks, I cannot help but be reminded of another California millionaire who sounds just like her. One Lucille Bluth.
I mean, it's one banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10?
Right now, Democrats have no real issues to run on because the Democratic Party has replaced policy positions with screaming at the sky about how Donald Trump is Hitler, Lex Luthor, and all four horsemen of the apocalypse rolled into one. So guess what all these Democrats are running on in district-level House races? Most of the ones that stand a chance of winning in toss-up districts are running against Nancy Pelosi. That's like their biggest stand on the issues, is being anti-Nancy Pelosi. All right, that's their issue. In fact, if Democrats really do get something resembling that blue wave that the McPundits have been telling us about for 2 years now, it won't be an anti-Trump wave. It will be an anti-Pelosi wave. 99 Democrats running for House seats right now either flat out oppose Pelosi or refuse to say whether or not they support Nancy Pelosi. And tons of them are running in these toss-up districts. That means in most of these toss-up districts, there is nobody running who supports Nancy Pelosi. If Democrats take back the House, the National Democratic Party is going to be completely at war with the new district-level Democrats who are showing up. And while these candidates are throwing Nancy Pelosi so far under the bus, the DNC is going to need a backhoe to excavate her. They are also promising to work together with President Trump. Even if Democrats don't take back the House, they're going to win some seats. And the National Party is going to despise a lot of these people who show up from toss-up districts. These are not going to be Democrats that they ideologically recognize. We won't know if there's a blue wave until we see the electorate, but I can tell you right now, all I have to do is look at these candidates, and I can tell you right now, there is no anti-Trump wave. Period. The Democrats are making a not-so-subtle pivot away from the monstrosity that the National Democratic Party has become. So if these Democrats from toss-up districts make it into the House of Representatives, the Democrats are going to be excited about it for like a day, and then they are going to be very sorry. It's hard to imagine any reason that there would be an anti-Trump blue wave. The economy is growing above expectations. We just had another quarter over 3% growth and are headed for being over 3% for the year. And when that happens, it will be the best economy since 2005. Trump is cutting regulations. Unemployment has no further down to go. We've reached a level of peace and prosperity that we have not seen in a very, very long time.
Bowling averages are way up. Mini golf scores are way down.
If people vote based on their pocketbooks and based on the economy, like we've been told for 1,000 years that that's how people vote, then it is going to look good for Republicans and President Trump. All right, now it's down to business. This is the third and final show where I'm looking at the House toss-up races district by district. If you want to hear it all, download episodes 46 and 47 of Politics for Patriots. You can go to my website, www.eddiezipperer.com. That's www.eddiezipperer.com, and you can listen to them there, or you can find them on iTunes, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, when we last spoke, I had the GOP at 213 seats and the Democrats at 209 seats. Remember, the magic number for control of the House is 218 seats. That's a majority. So you have to have 218 or more seats to control the House. So today, let's start in Florida. Both polls of Florida's 15th district show the race tied between the Republican Ross Spano and his Democratic opponent. Trump won this district by 10, Romney won it by 6, and the 2016 Republican House candidate won this seat by 15. Republican voter registration is up slightly in this district, and Democrat voter registration is down slightly in this district, which, now I'll have to check on this, but is that a sign of a blue wave? I'm not sure. Let's see. When Republican voter registration goes up, and Democratic registration goes down, is that how you know a blue wave is coming? I mean, is that how elections work at all?
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Thanks, Geico lady. I think you're right about that. Okay, so a couple of partisan pollsters are showing Spano, the Republican, with a decent lead in this district. Now, granted, this is an open seat, so the advantages of incumbency are out the window here. That's the number one issue for Republicans in this district and in this 2018 midterm is the number of open seats, because it's harder to win an open seat than it is to win an incumbent seat. At the same time, you can look at all the fundamentals of this district, and nothing says a Democrat is going to win this district. Nothing. There's nothing that spells Democrat here except a couple of polls. And I always say, if the context of the race says one thing and the polls say something else, I'm going to go with the context 10 times out of 10. Okay, this is another in a long line of districts we've looked at that are marked toss-up only because of one or two polls. And the fundamentals totally disagree with the idea that it's a toss-up. Spano is going to win this one. Chalk that one up for the Republicans. All right, Florida's 26th. This district is a great example of how polling data works. The September New York Times Siena poll shows Carlos Curbelo up by 3 points. The new New York Times Siena poll shows him down by 1 point. The media treats polling points like they are runs in a baseball game. Oh, the Democrats have scored 4 runs in the last month. Well, why are we even having the election?
It's a triumph of number crunching over the human spirit.
No. The margin of error on both of these two polls is 5%. Here's what that means. And I'm only explaining it because there is nothing the media misunderstands more often than how the margin of error works in election polls. Okay, here we go. The poll shows the Democrat at 45% and the Republican at 44%, with a 5% margin of error. That means that there is a 95% chance that the race actually stands somewhere in a range from the Democrat is up 50 to 39 to the Republican is up 49 to 40. That means there's a 95% chance that the race exists somewhere between the Democrat up by 11 and the Republican up by 9. Seriously, that's really how the margin of error on these things work. People think it's, okay, the poll shows the Democrat up by 1, so it could be anywhere from Republican plus 4 to Democrat plus 6. Nope. That is not how it works. In fact, people always say, oh, the polls were wrong. Oh, the polls were wrong. But technically, the polls are never wrong. Polls can't be wrong. Not a legit scientific poll. It can't be wrong because right off the bat, built into the poll, is the fact that there's only a 95% chance that the race is in this range. So right off the bat, that means there's a 5% chance that the race exists totally differently from anything in this poll. Next, the ranges allowed by the margin of error are often so huge that the poll can show it tied. You can have a mini landslide in one direction or the other direction, and the result will still wind up within the range allowed by the poll. I mean, you might as well shake that magic 8-ball and ask it who's going to win. Poll reading and palm reading are not so distant cousins. Okay, so we're still in Florida's 26th. Trump lost this district by 16 in the last election, and Romney lost it by 12 in the one before that. On the other hand, while Trump was losing this district by 16 points, Curbelo, the Republican incumbent, was winning by 12. So he outperformed Trump in this district by 28 points among the exact same voters. And don't forget to add in the advantages of incumbency, which I talked about in the last 2 episodes, and which are all on Curbelo's side in this district. One more thing we can add is the fact that we already know that Florida is one of the states with a surge in early Republican voters, as reported by NBC News. So it's not like I got this out of Breitbart or something. Florida and some other states, Montana, Arizona, Tennessee, Georgia, have had a huge influx of Republican voters so far in early voting. Now, whether or not that holds up, I don't know, but we'll see. Most of the left-leaning big data sites, who masquerade as objective number crunchers, have this district leaning towards Curbelo. I'm not so sure about it, but knowing that incumbents hold their seats some 90% of the time, and with a lot of good fundamentals on Curbelo's side, I'm going to go with him in this one. I think if it were an open seat, the Republican would maybe lose here. It'll be close, but Curbelo is a good fit for this district, and I think he's going to hold on to his seat. All right, next up, Florida's 27th district. The polls are all over the place in this district. Most recently, the New York Times Siena poll shows the Republican Maria Salazar down by 7. The Democrat here has a major advantage when it comes to resume. The Republican has never held any sort of office, while the Democrat has actually served in a presidential cabinet. She was Secretary of Health and Human Services under Bill Clinton. So that's actually a pretty big advantage here. Clinton won this district. Hillary Clinton now. Hillary Clinton won this district by 20 points in 2016, while the Republican House candidate won it by 10. But the Republican was a hardcore anti-Trumper. Right? There's a large Cuban-American population in this district. Salazar, the Republican running, is Cuban-American and speaks Spanish. The Democrat running does not speak Spanish. In a district like this, the ability to speak Spanish is a huge advantage. Huge. Undecideds are going to have to break for the Republican in this one in order for her to win. So it's not impossible that Salazar could win, but she does not have the advantages of incumbency on her side, and the fundamentals don't look great for her, and the polling data looks better for her opponent. So I'm going to have to go, I hate to do this, with the Democrat in this race.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Just so we're clear, that is how I feel every time I say that a Democrat is going to win one of these races. All right, let's find a district that'll get that taste out of my mouth. Okay, North Carolina's 9th. The New York Times Siena poll shows the Republican up by 5. Wow. I had forgotten it was even possible for a Republican to lead in the New York Times Siena poll. Okay, Trump won this district by 12. Romney won it by 12. The Republican vacating the seat won by 16 in 2012. The Republican running in this district is very conservative. He won a primary against the incumbent, which is why the seat is now open. So that guy got primaried from the right by this guy. But the polls and the fundamentals are on the side of Republicans here. This could potentially be a big upset for Democrats. We have one of those anti-Pelosi Democrats running in this district, but I think Republican Mark Harris is going to pull this one out. Everything in this district looks good for Republicans. So I'm going to put this one in the Republican win column. Moving on, North Carolina's 13th. Oh, look, we have another anti-Pelosi Democrat running. Man, they are all over the place. And this is stuff you don't hear about in the mainstream media. They don't bother to tell you about the races. They don't bother very often to tell you that Democratic candidates all over this country are running anti-Pelosi campaigns. That drives me nuts. They should be talking about it all the time. That's a really big deal. All right, so, good news. This isn't a real toss-up. Okay, there's a Republican incumbent. The polls show the Republican is up. Trump won this district by 9 in 2016. The Republican incumbent, Ted Budd, won it by 12. Every turnout scenario and every weighting scheme done by the New York Times shows the Republican winning. So Democrats can forget about winning North Carolina's 13th.
No, just forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Forget about it.
All right, on to Virginia. Virginia's 5th district. Trump won this district by 11. The Republican House candidate won it by 17. That's in 2016. The polls show a very close race. And the Democratic candidate in this district has a ton of money to play with. On the other hand, this is a district with excellent Republican fundamentals. Almost every data site has it going to Republicans despite the close polls and the Democratic money advantage. I think the Republicans are going to win this one too. All right, next door in Virginia's 7th, the New York Times Siena poll shows the Republican up by 4. A Monmouth poll shows it tied. The Republican in this one is an incumbent, which is very good news right off the bat. Never underestimate the advantages of incumbency. Trump won this district by 7 in 2016. Dave Bratt, the guy running for the seat right now, won it by 15 in that same election. This one is actually not really very close. I definitely think Bratt will hold this seat. All right, Kentucky's 6th district is another one that I'm not going to spend much time on. The incumbent running to keep his own seat won by 22 in the last election. Trump won this district by 15. The polls showed this one close, but the fundamentals say it is going to be an easy Republican hold. All right, now to Pennsylvania's 1st District. Technically, the Republican there is an incumbent, but he's not really an incumbent because the districts in Pennsylvania were just redrawn. This was Pennsylvania's 8th district with strong Republican fundamentals. Now it has been redrawn, so a Democrat will win, and unfortunately, that is exactly what is going to happen.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
All right, moving north into New Jersey. The polls are really close. Trump won this district. Oh, this is New Jersey's 3rd district. The polls are really close. Trump won this district by 6, but Romney lost it by 5. However, the Republican incumbent won this district in 2016 by 20 points. The guy's name is MacArthur, and MacArthur has all those incumbency advantages, which never underestimate those. That is one of the most important things. If you can choose one advantage to have, choose the advantages of incumbency. All right, MacArthur has higher favorability numbers than the Democratic candidate. Now, this is a highly competitive district based on its fundamentals and based on its demographics. And we have another Anti-Pelosi Democrat in the race. But MacArthur seems to be a really good fit for this district. It's no joke to win by 20 points. That was huge in 2016. In 2012 and 2016, this district had humongous presidential level turnouts. In 2012, this district, MacArthur in this district was up against the Obama turnout machine, which is a substantial problem for Republicans. Anytime they're up against that Obama turnout machine, the 2012s, the 2008s, that's when Republicans have had the worst time. But they still held this district in 2012 up against that Obama turnout machine. I'm going to go against the other data journalists on this one. I think MacArthur is going to hold this seat. They say that he's not. I say that he is. All right, New Jersey's 7th district has a Republican incumbent, which is good. But he is down in one major poll, the Monmouth, which is bad. But the lead for the Democrat is well within the margin of error, which is good. The Republican is up by 1 in the New York Times Siena poll, which is also good. But here's the best news of all. The Republican incumbent won this seat in 2008, 2010, 2012, 2014, and 2016. He holds it when turnout is at midterm levels, and he holds it when Democratic turnout is high. Those Obama turnout years, 2008, 2012. Trump lost this district by 1 point in 2016, but at that exact same time, among those exact same voters, the Republican incumbent Lance was winning it by double digits. And I say he's going to win it again. I don't see any evidence that there's a turnout model that can take him out. I mean, he won this district during the last blue wave in 2008 by 8 points. And Democrats may be enthusiastic, but the early voting data shows that Republicans are also very enthusiastic. In many states, more enthusiastic than Democrats. And Lance is going to hold this seat. All right, over to New York. New York's 19th, very interesting race here. Polls show it close, but the Republican candidate is an incumbent. Trump won this district by 6, while Romney and McCain both lost it. Faso, the incumbent, won this district in 2016 by 9 points. So he outperformed President Trump in 2016. This is one of those districts, one of those somewhat rare districts, mostly that exist in the northeastern part of the country, that prefers Trump to candidates like Romney and McCain. And that is a great sign. Okay, a Democrat won this seat in 2006 and 2008, so it is susceptible to high Democratic enthusiasm. This one is a really tough call. I could go either way on it, but I'm going to say this district went nicely for Trump and Faso in 2016, but I also think that Democratic enthusiasm can swing this district. I'm going to give it to Republicans by a sliver. It could go either way, but I'm going to give it to the Republican by a sliver. I'm going to count on those advantages of incumbency here. All right, over to New York's 22nd district. This one actually looks quite a bit like New York's 19th district that we just looked at. There's a Republican incumbent who's down by just a little bit in the polls. Trump won this district by 15 in 2016. Romney only won it by 1 in 2012. But while Trump was winning by 15, the Republican incumbent here, Claudia Tenney, only won by 5. In 2012, the Republican incumbent won by 20. All right, so Eric Trump has been there to campaign for her. I think Claudia Tenney would probably benefit from a Trump visit, probably more than any other Republican running for any House seat right now. Any of the toss-up House seats. Yes. You hear that, President Trump? You could really make a difference if you showed up in New York's 22nd district to support Tenney. I hope you will do that if you can squeeze it in. Trump has these people that he's got to lift up all over the country, so I don't know if he's going to make it there or not. But he could really make a difference there. And seriously, there aren't a ton of places where President Trump showing up and holding a rally could be the absolute difference maker. But this is a place where it could be. So President Trump, if you're listening, New York's 22nd district, make a flight out there. The Democrat that Tenney is running against in this district is another one of the many running on an anti-Nancy Pelosi platform. I told you. I had a whole show with this title. I told you she was going to be the piñata of the 2018 midterms, and man, has that ever proven true. The best thing Democrats have going for them in these districts are these anti-Pelosi candidates. The worst thing they have going for them is the horrible National Democratic Party. So I hope Claudia Tenney pulls this one out. I gave the last one to the Republicans by a sliver. I'm giving this one to the Democrats by a sliver, mostly because the Democrats have a better candidate here than they do in the previous district that I talked about. So I'm going to give this one to Democrats by a sliver.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
All right, last district we're going to talk about today, Maine's 2nd. Another really difficult call. Trump won this district by 10 in 2016. The Republican has a slight lead in the polls. The Republican is, and this is good news, an incumbent who won this seat by 10 points in 2016. In 2012, President Obama won this district by 10, and the Democratic House candidate won it by 15. So this is one of those Trump country districts, one of those places where people voted for Obama and then turned around and voted for Trump. Honestly, I'm worried that this House candidate needs Trump at the top of the ballot in order to win. The Democrat here is running a smart campaign for the district by trying to subtly align himself a little bit with Trump. Okay, not only is he anti-Pelosi, like so many of the candidates, he's tried to align himself with Trump a little bit. When Trump endorsed Bruce Polkwin, the Republican running here, the Democratic candidate retweeted the endorsement and said, "I won't hold this endorsement against Donald Trump when I'm in Congress. I'm ready to work with the president when it's good for the people of Maine's 2nd district. When it's not, I'm ready to stand up to him." So, this guy is running hard on health care, which is probably a smart run in that district. And damn it, I'm sorry, giving the Democrats the edge in this one.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
That sound effect is a little bit of an underreaction to how I really feel, but we'll go with it anyway. But here's the good news. Today I gave 10 seats to the Republicans and only 3 to the Democrats. That means I have the House of Representatives ending up in Republican hands by a margin of 223 to 212. So some Republicans will lose some seats, but the GOP will maintain control of the House of Representatives. When Democrats fail to win back the House, watch for Nancy Pelosi to say it was because they opposed her. That's going to be fantastic. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be totally wrong because their opposition to her is actually the only reason they have a chance of winning here. People in these toss-up districts